Okay, guys, I'm going to make a start because it's about 4:15 and I think most of us are here. So I'm going to talk you through it today. If there's any questions, just write them in the chat and we'll try to answer them at the end. So if you just jot any questions you have throughout it that you want to ask me or Mr. Hannon, who's here as well, then we'll try and answer them together at the end. Other than that, I'm just going to go through the PowerPoint as it is. It might be very similar to things you've seen in the past. Just let me let more people in. So like I said, for those joining, I'll do questions at the end and we'll go through the PowerPoint as best we can. So please, you should just be able to put them in the chat, just type them in and we'll answer them at the end. So this is the members of staff that we'll be working with this year. So in 5A, it's Mr. Rice, I'm the class teacher. And in 5B, it is Mr. Hannon, the class teacher. Miss Shields is the TA, that'll be working in both. Then we have Miss Caldwell as well, who will be working as a TA in both. And then we have support workers who will be working in both classes. So we have, we have Mr. Barton, Miss Cunningham, and Miss Meekins, who will be working with lots of different children, and they'll try and go in and between the classes as they do. We have, so this is just about the school routine. It's slightly changed at the moment, so asking the children to come to the gates for 8:45 if we can, and to try and be in class for 10 to 9 if they can. Now, I know usually we wouldn't start things till 9 o'clock, but when children come in late, it means we miss 10, 15 minutes of learning. So if they could be in for 10 to 9, that would be really helpful, both for me and Mr. Hannon in 5B. And then in the afternoons, at the end of the day, we take them out to the mugger pitch and we line up, and then if they see a parent, they just let us know. And that's at 10 to 3. Around 3 o'clock, if they've not been picked up, so that they don't mix with year 6, we have to take them to the back door and then take them through to lates. So if your child's gone to lates, you can sometimes come at the back door there, or if it's a little bit later, come round at the office and then someone will come and collect them. Right, other things we have is lost property. Usually we'd have a box for lost property, but at the moment, because of the way situations are, we're not allowed to have a lost property box. So make sure your name's on anything. And if there is any lost property, it goes straight to the office now. So if you feel you've lost anything, please come to the office and ask, and they will go through the stuff and try and find it with your name on. This is the timetable for year 5. We will try and send out copies for the timetables as well with the kids. On Wednesday, it's indoor PE, and on Thursday is outdoor PE. We ask to save time in the day if the children could come in their PE kit, and then they're ready for the PE and we don't have to waste time getting changed. It is getting a bit wet and cold at the moment, so we ask, it's appropriate to the weather. So if it's raining, we do still go outside, so having things like waterproofs. If it's cold, again, we do still go outside, so making sure they're wrapped up warm. And if there's a chance they think they're going to get wet and what they're wearing, a change of clothes is great as well. The rest we have is the topic questions for this year. So the first one is the Industrial Revolution, which we're just finishing. We will also send out and upload any subject knowledge organizers onto Seesaw. So for example, the Americas are coming up as our next topic. So in the next few days, me and Mr. Hannon will upload the subject knowledge organizers for those to the Seesaw, so parents can see them, children can see them, and they can use them for their own research. Then in spring 1, our topic will be Malala. In spring 2, our topic will be tsunamis. In summer 1, it'll be Anglo-Saxons and Vikings. And finally, in summer 2, it will be the ancient kingdom of Benin. When they come to that, it's not the country Benin, it's the ancient kingdom Benin, which is in the country Nigeria, which children can find really difficult to understand, especially when they're researching it themselves for the first time. Apart from that, this is an outlook of our curriculum. I'm sure you've seen things like this before. So we cover English. Most of the English we do is always through a book that we're learning and reading about, and a lot of the writing is built around that. So this term, it was around a non-fiction book about a recount of Annie Taylor's life. So she was a daredevil who went over Niagara Falls. So there's always a text that we're talking about and reading in class. So if you ever want to know, you can ask your child what it is we're reading about, or come and ask the teachers. Maths, we use the Maths No Problem. Science, and then the history and geography is taught through the topic. And then most of the others is self-explanatory, apart from music, where we have a drumming teacher who comes in and teaches African drumming, as well as the music we do inside the class. So any questions about this, just ask me and Mr. Hanan, and we're happy to answer. Then it comes to homework, which is a little bit different for this year, because obviously we can't give homework books. We obviously can't give reading journals that I would usually do. So at the moment, we're using reading theory to help children keep up with the reading that they need to do. So we're asking for about 3 quizzes every week. So they're like exam style questions where the child gets a text at their level and then they answer exam style questions, and it gives them instant feedback. We can also see how they do on the test, so we can see how they're progressing and let you know about how they're doing on it. So we'd like to see as many children as possible using reading theory 2 or 3 times a week. If there's no access to it at home, we are putting break and lunch times away where children can come and ask us to use an iPad or a computer, and we will set them up for it. But the children do need to come and tell us they don't have access so that we can provide it for them. The other thing to say is, although we're not doing reading journals, we are hoping that the children are reading for 5, 10, 15 minutes every night, whether it's on their own or with a parent. That is vital for them making progress this year. And then when it comes to homework in general, everything's going to be on Seesaw from now on. So we do upload tasks to Seesaw maybe once or twice a week for the children to respond to. But we're also saying to the children, they can submit their own learning. So what they're passionate about, things we've been learning in class, they can upload those to Seesaw. So there's some lovely blogs on Seesaw as well that the parents can see as well of what other children are submitting, so they can do similar things. If anyone doesn't have logins for Seesaw, they need to let us know in school and we'll give them a copy. And if parents want access to Seesaw, there was a letter that went out about 2 weeks ago. You can either ask for another copy of the letter, or we can try and set details up if you pass us an email for it. Anything on Seesaw as well, we see it all and we approve it. Sometimes we'll have time to do comments. Sometimes it might just be that we like it and approve it, or we send it back to children if they need to improve it. Then we have our expectations for year 5, very similar to what they've done in the past. But a big thing we're saying to them is it's a big step up in the upper key stage 2, getting towards year 6, starting to think about secondary school. So there's huge expectations on behavior and standards of work. They take a big step up, and we're asking that the children take responsibility for that and they mature with it. Especially attitudes towards learning, which is why a lot of the homework is more for them to explore what they're passionate about or what we've been learning about in class, and then to submit their own. The only other thing to say is around behavior policy. So of course we use the traffic lights. They get a verbal reminder, and then we move down the traffic light to amber. They'll have another verbal reminder, although we always want to move them back to green, in which case they'll move back down to red 1. If they hit red 1, we usually find another place in the classroom for them to work in, to give them a chance to move back to green. And then if after another verbal reminder the behavior doesn't improve, then they move to timeout, where they go and do it with the head of year, Miss Elkinson, for about 15 minutes. If there are any timeouts, we will often do a letter, a text, or we'll speak to you at the gates, like I know me and Mr. Hannon have done already, to make sure that you know what's going on with your child inside school. The other thing is around assessment. So I don't know whether children have said, but this week is an assessment week as we get towards the end of half term. So they're doing assessments in their reading, in their writing, and in their maths at the moment. We're happy to talk to any parents about those if you want to know how your child is doing. But most of the assessments are for us to put onto Target Tracker and for us to see, especially because this year is a little bit different, where they miss things at the end of year 4. We're trying to find where there are any gaps, if there are, for us to change the teaching towards that, to try and help the children catch up to year 5 level as quickly as possible. So we will do those assessments at the end of every half term. And of course, that's the kind of data we bring to parents' evening, when that'll be coming up to talk to you about as well. And then at the very end of the year, we usually do some kind of practice SATs kind of questions before they move on to year 6, which is usually like the summer 2 as well. Trips, unfortunately, aren't really going ahead with the situation with COVID at the moment, but usually we would do a trip for every topic. So the one for Industrial Revolution, we usually go to Quarry Bank Mill, and it's used to kind of hook and engage the children in the topic. As soon as we're able to do trips again, we will start doing those. And we just ask that if we are doing a trip, could people sign up to parent pay as much as possible to pay for it? And it makes our jobs easier, and it makes it easier to book the trips and make sure that we have the money to pay for those trips. As far as this goes forward, we know parenting is difficult at times and people want support with it. Of course, me and Mr. Hannon, I'm going to keep doing that wrong, aren't I, are always welcome for any questions that anyone has, whether it's at the end of the day, whether it's you send us through email, so there's a year 5 email, or you set up a meeting with the office to come and meet us. If you feel you need to get in contact with us through any way, we can give a child an email, or we can give them a way of messaging us in the day. If it isn't us that you want to approach, the other people that can support you with parenting is Sandra Graham from a Monday to Thursday, she's in school. Louise Notman through Outreach, who comes in to school every now and again, and Jane Trowery, who's our inclusion manager, who I'm sure a lot of people have spoken to already. And then finally, our safeguarding. So of course, everyone knows the safeguarding policy that's online. We're all trained in the safeguarding. We have to at the start of the year. Of course, we take it very seriously to protect children from abuse and neglect. But if there's any issues around that, again, you can contact the members of staff, so me and Mr. Hannon, or Miss Trowery, Mr. Reynolds, or Miss Turner are available. Right, guys, that brings us to the end. I know that was a bit of a whirlwind and I'm kind of talking at you, but now is a chance that I'll go through any questions that people have in the chat and I'll try my best to answer them. So if you've thought of anything that you'd like to ask me about, pop it in the chat and I'll try to answer. So the first one is, what chapter are you on in the Maths No Problem journey? It's slightly different for 5A and 5B because we're at slightly different points, because 5B had to be out of school for a little bit. 5A were about midway through the addition and subtraction, and I think 5B are...
We're just pretty much started chapter 2. 5B are for, chapter 2, addition and subtraction, just pretty much started it.
Yeah. So I assume that's people still using it at home from the logins we gave, and that's great as well. If anyone wants a bit of access to that on the Maths No Problem, we can set you up with that as well. For Morale, of course, we'll set her up with access to Seesaw tomorrow. If she can remind me in the morning, then I'll make sure she's got a login for it. We'll also give her a login for the read and theory if she could have a go at that as well. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
When it comes for individual child's progress, there is going to be a parents' evening coming up after half term where we'll be happy to talk about that as well. And any individual progress or how children have done an assessment, if you approach us at the end of the day, or you email us, or you want to set up a meeting through the office, we'll be happy to talk about how children are doing individually with you and how they're progressing. If there's any other questions, send them through. I mean, Mr. Hannon will try to answer them. If not, we'll give it a little bit longer, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I assume that's all the questions. Thank you very much for coming. It's great to see so many people engaging with it. There will be another one at about 5:15, is that right? 5 o'clock, there will be the next one that Mr. Hannon will be doing. But yeah, any other questions, come and contact us. But thank you very much for coming. Cheers.
Thank you.